All right, YouTube, it's your boy Zxous, and finally that we've had Delta out for not really 2 days, but basically 2 days. I want to do the tier list, right? I waited specifically for Delta to come out and be able to try her out and everything before I could rank her, right? And then also we have to rank Jill and Ada, and then just kind of revisit the entire meta tier list, right? So currently, this is what we got going for our meta tier list and stuff like that, and we are adding the addition of Jill Valentine, Ada Wong, and Delta Ninja Thief. Now, I'm not adding Claire because the SRs are always going to be garbage. This is a full SSR tier list and stuff like that. The last characters we ended up adding was Milk and Aid, which I think they're fine in their sub-meta tier. And then obviously before that was Yunwa, Emma, and Vesti, which I also think all three of those characters are in the right tier. So today we're going to be looking at these three, and I'm going to break down where they are and why they are there. But before we do that, I want to see if there should be anybody that's going up and down. I feel like if we're talking about meta, I feel like I want to put Crust down to usable and then Breddy in good, because don't get me wrong, I don't think Crust is a bad character, but she is just like a usable character. I feel like in the sense of like this quote-unquote sustain, it's a bit difficult for her to be higher than just usable. And honestly, the same thing could honestly be said about a character that, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Summer or Crust is like a worse version of Summer Ozana, but not that much where she's just a usable character. I'm gonna put her in the good option because she is definitely a good pick for burst 2s, right? I'm gonna keep her there. So then without that, I probably am not changing anything. I do not think there's anybody in some meta. I mean, maybe I feel like Summer Ele can go into meta for the solo fact of like where she's, and same as these two. I think Mast and Anchor are 100% meta now. I think those are two characters that people are like looking at like, okay, should I have Crown on my team or should I have those two on my team? Maybe I'll keep Eleg sub meta, but I think Mast and Anchor definitely deserve to be in that sub or in that meta tier, right? I think they're the best thing right after Crown. And then from that, you have obviously these two characters, which I feel like they lack a lot. You have Aid and, you know, Grave, which are very good characters as well. But I just feel like what these two could provide as a duo is insane, right? These two as well as a duo is very, very good, but it's still very niche. These two as a duo is just crap, like it's just hacks, right? But let's talk about these characters. So where am I gonna put Miss Jill Valentine? Now, if I'm gonna pull up Jill real quick, I think Jill is a cool character. I feel like she's a powerful character, right? If we're talking about just raw solo damage, she is top 3 strongest electric DPSs in the game. But just because she is a top 3 strongest DPS in the game doesn't necessarily mean much, right? I don't want people thinking, oh, well, she's top 3 strongest electric characters in the game, she has to be there. If we take a look at our win character, if we're just taking a look at base SSR, I would say Ray is probably the 3rd strongest. Like, if we're not counting Little Mermaid, because Little Mermaid is very powerful herself, right? She's like technically the 3rd strongest, but like if we're talking about just burst 3s, Ray is the 3rd strongest win character, but I would never put her in meta because of that, right? So I feel like when it comes to Jill, I feel like she's in that good tier. I feel like she is a great character. I think she does have her niche, which is the simple fact that she's only going to be used against solo bosses, because everywhere else she is like really, 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 really bad, right? I think the only saving grace for this character is bosses, right? Is she like a first pick? Definitely not, but I don't think she's worse than Breddy. I don't think she's worse than even favorite item Julia. I really don't think she's worse than Phantom. Maybe Quincy she's worse than, but I don't think she's worse than a lot of the characters in that good tier, right? So I think I would have her in that good tier overall. If you're wondering why PvP characters are here, it's just an overall tier list, right? So that's exactly where I'm gonna have Jill Valentine. I feel like Ada Wong is another story. She is going into that sub-meta tier, guaranteed. I think this is the best thing you could have on your account after, not even like the best thing after like Summer Niece, because Summer Niece is like specifically for electric characters, right? Like I was saying, I think Summer Niece is like of the best sub DPS for like well, it's between her, Maiden, and honestly Ada Wong as well. But I feel like if we're talking about just electric characters, I feel like Summer Niece is that character. I feel like it's crazy for me to still have Summer Niece in meta though. I feel like she's sub meta. I feel like her, Ludmilla, Maiden, even Ada Wong, these three right here are like an E-leg, like from literally Summer and Niece all the way to even Ein, heck, let's say even Soda. I feel like these characters are all just sub-meta characters now, right? Ada Wong is like a great character because she works with any burst 3 in the game, right? The only thing is when it comes to Ada Wong, she only works with one burst 3 every rotation, right? So whoever's using their burst skill, that's the character she's supporting throughout that burst rotation, right? Whatever burst 3 uses their burst skill is the burst 3 she's supporting in that burst rotation. But I think her buffs are really nice. I really like the fact that she heals, and as an on-field or off-field burst 3, she is still doing pretty good damage because she just guaranteed has sustain, right? Like her kit, she's always doing damage regardless of what's happening. So I think sub-meta is exactly where I have Ada Wong. Like I told you guys, between Jill and Ada, I think, you know, Jill is the worst one. But I already knew that sub DPSs or supports just tend to be better than DPSs in the long run, right? Like Crown is gonna die, or Cinderella will die before Crown and Little Mermaid would ever die, right? And that's just the reality of the situation. Litter had the longest run ever wherever she is, right? And she only died because somebody better came, right? And that's that. But I think like this character Ada Wong is going to have the longevity. The same thing with Summer Niece. Summer Niece has longevity. This Winter Maiden, Lamilla's about to be her 2nd year anniversary. She's still very sub-meta. Maiden's about to have her 1st anniversary, still sub-meta. Ein is about to have, or Ein already had her anniversary, her year anniversary, and she's definitely sub-meta as well. So I feel like Ada Wong is going to be a character who's going to be in that sub-meta tier for a long time. Unless they just keep making a bunch of... did I just call her Ein? Ada Wong. I don't know what I just called her, but Ada Wong. I feel like Ada Wong is going to have that longevity until they drop more characters who do what she does, but better, right? Which, realistically, I wouldn't be surprised if like we got like 3 more times 10 better Ada Wongs in the next few months, to be honest, because I feel like they're kind of going that route with it's either a broken DPS or like a niche DPS, or it's just like a crazy support or a niche support. That's what Nikke's really been dropping. We've not had a healer in a long time, I guess, besides this new Delta, which, speaking of the Delta, this is where I'm going to put her in the usable tier. I don't think she's necessarily bad. I just feel like her kit could have been a lot better with certain wording, right? Genuinely. I think if they gave her damage reduction, or if they made it that, like she skilled off of HP instead of, like, what is it in her kit that she has that skills off? She has something in her kit that is beyond stupid to me that skills off of, what's it called? Attack. What is it? It's her healing. I feel like that's so stupid. Because essentially, like, if this was off her max HP and then every 4 seconds, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but like, if she healed a certain amount, I don't even know how to explain it, right? Because my whole thing is she's always recovering HP continuously, right? Based off the attack damage, sure. But I feel like the accumulated should have been based on how much healing she received, right? And then obviously the percentage could be way higher, so the healing is way higher, but I feel like the healing could have been 10 times better. I feel like, this character could have just been 10 times better if they just worded her kit better, but I feel like she's usable. Realistically, I think she's a fantastic alternative for Helm. And that's crazy to say because Helm is all the way in meta and I'm putting this character in usable. Realistically, I'm going to put her in good. I think she might even be better than Jill. Overall, I think she might be better than Jill. And that might be the hot take of the day. Let me know. Who do you guys think is a better character between Jill Valentine and Ada Wong? I think Delta... No, I just said Jill Valentine and Ada Wong. Jill Valentine and Delta Ninja Thief. I think Delta Ninja Thief is better than Jill Valentine overall. And I don't think that's crazy to use, because crazy to say, because I feel like if you fully invest into Delta, she would be usable even with her kit. Like, she would be like a decent pick even with her kit how it is right now. If you fully invest into her, 10-10-10, overload gear, give her the right stats, collection item, and then realistically, if you want to give her support like Rouge and stuff like that, you can. But like, if we're talking about just fully invested into her as a solo character, she could perform if you do fully invest into her. I 100% believe that. And then whenever I get Delta, I am going to dedicate my time to building her 10-10-10 and all that stuff to come back to this character, because I do like her kit. I'm not gonna lie. I at first thought, okay, like, her kit is bad. I don't really like this character when I was reading it off paper. And even when I'm testing her, I'm still like, the way I felt before she came out is how I still feel now. but I feel like I enjoy this character. I feel like I'm just gonna enjoy using this character. I like the kind of like RNG of like her keeping a shield up and protecting the team, but her trying to survive the 4 seconds before she gets it back. And again, we could really you can have this character be built crazy. You really can. We can give her damage reduction with the cube now. We could give her max HP. I feel like damage reduction, if you give her a collection item, SR collection item, and the damage reduction cube fully leveled up, I feel like you could have a crazy Delta, right? At least one that can survive. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to fully build Delta whenever I get her, and then I'm going to let you guys know. Like, she's going to be like, I think Delta is like, for me, Delta might be the second Bay. Like, you know, I love Bay because of her tanking capability. Delta's like the second version of that for me. So Bay and Delta might be up there in my favorites. I'm not going to lie. And that's crazy for me to say because I was hating on Delta, but I just enjoy her character. Like, not even the design or anything like that. I just think the kit could be so fun if you fully invest into it. And I'm just so excited to try that out when I do get her. But I think if we're talking about meta, sub-meta, and whatever, this is what I have. I don't think anybody can go up. I don't think anybody can go down. I think this is what I agree on for just the like sub-meta, meta, all that stuff, right? I don't think there's anybody here that I would put up to sub-meta from the good tier. Not a single character there. And then obviously, I don't know if there's anybody in the sub-meta tier that I would put down. Realistically, I feel like Mari is like, because now with Aid in the game, I just don't feel like Mari should be in sub-meta anymore. Because now you have Grave, Mass, Anchor. Like, yeah, I'm going to have to throw her in good. Because I just don't feel like with all these verse 2 options now, I just don't see why Mari would be in that sub-meta tier. You know what I'm saying? Sub-metas are characters that are like kind of like go-tos, but you're picking between them, if that makes sense. That's just my opinion. You guys let me know if you guys agree or not. That's the tier list for October, and stay tuned for next month because then we'll have the anniversary characters added onto this. So, it's your boy Zxous. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.